right, and welcome everybody to a very special live stream here at the Rag Company YouTube channel. Joining me today, Miss Sydney Bray-Gwen.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited about this.
Me too.
Things are about to get a little crazy.
It is about to get crazy, Sydney, because this is a momentous moment, right?
Yeah.
A momentous, can you say that? Because we are less than a week away from
very much less than a week away.
The biggest live detailing event of the year, which is TRCMA here at the Rag Company YouTube channel. Now, if you have been living under a rock, or let's just say, I don't know, I mean, you've just found out about detailing and you're going all in. You're diving deep down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
What is TRCMA? So TRCMA is the Rag Company Media Access event, and this is essentially a full week of live streaming for the detailing community, highlighting the latest and greatest in detailing, whether it's tools, techniques, people, brands, things like that, because everybody comes out to Boise, Idaho here under this roof and presents and more. I don't know how to just say that. It's not just a normal presentation of just showcasing product or showcasing tools and techniques, but it is basically a community coming together on a live stream involving all of you watching in the comments where you can be a part of it. And Sydney, what do you like about it?
Well, for one, I love having all the brands here, right? You know, we often get to see things that maybe aren't out on the market yet. We get to communicate with them. Like, it's so fun. It's literally probably my favorite week all year.
It is.
Literally.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So what is today's live stream and what does it have to do with TRCMA? Well, we like to, again, get some practice before a big event like this. And so right now we are stress testing our systems. We are going through to make sure that there's no sparks or fires starting in the electrical room. We make sure that...
It gets hot in there though.
It does get very hot in there. We make sure that Glenn has a fan on and a spray bottle as she keeps switching things behind the scenes. Sebastian, I believe, is just, I think, fanning or doing something behind the scenes as well. Now, everybody is doing something here, right? We have Jimmy holding a camera. We have several other cameras set up here, and everybody else has some type of headset on to be able to coordinate how this thing all comes together. So it really is like a full feature when we do this. So what we're doing is stress testing this, but today we're actually going to be featuring several different kind of live detailing examples. And so we're going to be going through and actually doing some live decon. We're going to be talking about PPE, talking about personal protection equipment. We're also going to be cleaning some wheels and doing like a decon on your car right here, right? A little clay.
Yep. But we also are doing something else fun for the audience at home. We are actually filming a full main channel video.
Yes, right
so
now.
You guys get to go with us behind the scenes as we film a regular YouTube video. So this is going to be really interesting. We've not done this before. So we're kind of covering a couple different things here. So it's going to be pretty interesting. So Anthony, now what we need from you is a YouTube intro. So go into character and bust it out.
Okay. This is interesting because this is live, and normally I take some time to sit down and meditate. Practice
I'll let you know if you need a retake.
Some mindfulness about this. Okay, so would you like me to say like we are doing some decon and we're going?
Yeah, just your normal YouTube intro. Just
okay, we'll do
normal YouTube
the
intro.
ins and outs of decon. Do you like the way that sounds? I think that sounds nice.
Yeah, like 3 ways to skin a cat. I don't know.
Oh my goodness! I didn't know we were doing
Is that how it goes?
I didn't know we were saying that. Okay. All right, let's just try this. All right, ready? Okay. Okay. Here we go. Let me see. Okay.
You got this.
Okay. All right. Okay. Here we go. And should I snap or don't snap?
Yeah. Do your hey
Do
guys.
it. Okay.
Hey
Just point. Okay. Ready? Here we go. And. Hey guys, Dane through the Rag Company, and welcome to an exciting video where you get to learn everything that you need to know about exterior decon. Let's do it. What do you think? Was that good?
That was pretty good.
Okay.
Maybe
you can,
but they like to do another one.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
you do it again.
Okay.
And
we have people driving by. They're saying hi right now. So here we go. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and. Hey guys, Dane through the Rag Company, and welcome to a video where you're going to learn the ins and outs of exterior decontamination. Let's do it. Yeah. Okay, you.
No, that was good.
Why don't you do one?
I think we're ready to go.
Why is it just me? Why don't you just do one?
I think this is where you toss it to Dane.
That's
Dane?
I mean, I put myself out there. I gave you everything. Okay, that's fine.
Hi, guys.
We're going to give Sid a pass. We are going to pass it over Dane as he is the man in the box today. So let's hear what's going on his side of things.
Well, it is funny. They passed to me because I'm supposed to give you the spiel on TRCMA, but realistically, Anthony kind of nailed it. I mean, apart from the actual dates, which, if you didn't hear, are next week. So we will be cramming next week full of TRCMA goodness, TRCMA if you will, and that stands for the Rag Company Media Access Show. So basically, as they stated, it is a chance to catch a trade show in a virtual environment. Basically, you get to be a fly on the wall and actually see the demos as if you were going to a trade show booth, and you could actually talk to the reps, which you actually can talk to the reps via the comment section, the chat. That is how it works. So if you haven't been to a TRCMA before, don't worry. You can literally have it right there in your pocket, on your phone, on your computer, your TV, however you want to enjoy it. But just so you're aware, I'll go over the dates again here. It is March 30th through April 2nd. So if you're not sure if you're going to remember, just know that it's next week. Or to make it real easy for you, you can go to TRCMA.com, and that'll take you to the section of our website where you can actually get info. You'll get email updates, that sort of thing, when different segments go live, different brands perhaps that you're interested in. Maybe you haven't heard of a brand before and you just want to know what they're all about. You can check it out right there on the page as the show goes on. And of course, if nothing else, just watch us here on YouTube, on the Rag Company YouTube channel. That is where you're going to see it all go down. But as you can see there, if you want to enter your email, you can certainly do so and be a part of the action. So hopefully that gets you in the mix there. And of course, I don't want to spend too much time being the man in the box, but we can move on from me and go right back out to the guys there. I believe they got a station set up with some safety equipment, which when you see what we get into today, it's kind of important.
Yeah, thank you, Dane. Can we get you to do the man in the box thing again?
Man in the box.
Wow. I mean,
Oh, God.
what do you mean? Would you be willing to do that for money, essentially? I mean, we just throw you a couple bucks. Okay. He's going to do it for free. We don't actually have to pay him at all. That's amazing.
Why not?
Dane, thank you so much for that
bet.
glorious intro. We appreciate all the work that you're doing there in the box, but I think we kind of got it from here for right now.
No problem.
All
Thanks,
right.
Dane.
Thank you. Okay, so Sid, we are here at this beautiful table with a couple devices here that, you know, questionable things, right? Maybe we could commit some crimes with some of the stuff on the table, maybe not, right?
Yeah.
Between the sunglasses, the gloves,
Yep.
maybe a mask or two, and whatever's in that spray bottle. So what is this stuff?
So we wanted to chat PPE real quick. So as much fun as we like to have, sometimes we do have to make sure that we're being safe. So we are going to be using acid today. Actually, I am. Anthony's going to be using some iron remover. So because sometimes in the art of detailing, sometimes you end up having to use chemicals or devices that are not safe. And so we kind of wanted to highlight some of the things that you need to make sure that you have in your arsenal when preparing to work with some of these chemicals. So first things first, I'm going to be using acid today. So we obviously have our acid. Then we have a respirator. Now, because I'm only going to be doing a fender, I'm not going to put the respirator on for you guys because it's not very like fashionable just for 2 seconds. So I'm not actually going to use the respirator, but you should when you are doing it at home. And then of course, probably always with most things detailing, you need to make sure you have gloves. Depending on how long you're going to be working with the acid and really like kind of what you're doing is when you want to make sure, do you need, you know, more gloves than just these? You know, they obviously have like the over gloves and things like that. But let's talk about why gloves real quick. Is skin is our biggest organ actually. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
It is. It's your biggest organ. And so whatever goes on your hands goes inside your body. So always think of it like that. So if it's on you, it's in you. Just think of that. So if we have acid on our hands, it is inside our body. So ceramics, you know, wheel cleaners, anything like that, you want to make sure you're wearing gloves so that it is not getting into our bloodstream.
Yeah.
That's terrible. So we have gloves, and then always eye protection, especially when using acid. You want to make sure, because if you spray a wheel or spray a panel and it splashes back at you, the worst case scenario is it gets in your eye. If it gets on your skin, you want to obviously wipe it off, but for the most part, you want to have eye protection. Now, I have my sunglasses today here, so this is what I'm going to be using as my eye protection. Now, is this really appropriate eye protection? Probably not the safest, but it's better than nothing. So if you have your sunglasses, just make sure that you are using them.
Gotcha. Yeah, so this is very important stuff.
Yeah,
Last night I was actually spraying some non-chlorinated brake cleaner, and I was cleaning out a valve cover, and I sprayed it, and it kind of did the spoon thing, and it went right back on me.
Yeah.
Got a little bit in my mouth, right on my face, on my glasses. I was like, oh, that's not good, right?
No.
So I ran inside. I you know, rinsed everything off, right?
Okay.
But you know, I did have gloves on, so I wasn't. I didn't have it on my hands. I did have it pretty much everywhere else, though. So basically, when you're spraying any type of chemical, it's always good just to make sure that you are protected, whether it's long sleeves, whether it's gloves, glasses, masks, you know, things like that. I mean, again, we're using detailing products, which aren't going to be the worst things in the world, but again, to do this long term and to stay doing this forever, we want to make sure that we are protected. So. No, it's funny because right when you said that you were doing acid, I'm like, this is way different than like acid in the 90s, right? We're actually just using acid for cleaning, right? Not necessarily an outer inner body experience. So now you're going to be doing that.
Yep.
I'm going to be doing a different type of the process. But yes, so masks, acid, gloves, glasses, and a well-ventilated area, right? So that's another big thing to mention. So when people think about ventilation, we think of, okay, well, what if we just do it outside? Well, outside is great. You also have wind outside, right? And so
even
what happens?
the slightest amount of wind.
Oh, it can just blow that right at you. So yeah, basically with any type of caustic chemical, just make sure that you are protected, because like Sydney said, if it's on you, it's probably in you at some point. And I think I'm made of brake cleaner right now.
Well, and good to mention that what we learned from Anthony's situation last night is also keep your mouth closed while you're using this stuff, right?
Yeah, I don't know why like my mouth was open, right? Like I think I was like in awe. I'm like, wow, this is really cleaning this valve cover really good. And then like I got in my mouth a little bit. I'm like, that's kind of gross. Spit that out. So Other things to note too, right? So we talked about doing this outside, and we talked about the wind and potential environmental factors there. Make sure you just have water readily available, right? Whenever you're spraying a chemical of any sort, make sure you have some running water, right? Whether you need to rinse yourself off or whether you need to rinse that surface off. You just don't want to start spraying something, realize that your hose isn't on, realize that you're covered in it, and you have to do something about it, right? So that's a big thing to note there. So, and then gloves too. I know there can be different arguments about gloves and the importance of them with certain, like maybe a standard washing, right? Using a pH balanced soap or something. Yeah, gloves aren't going to be super necessary. But also to just be mindful of where the cuff is sitting. I know there's plenty of people out there that will use some pretty caustic chemicals. They'll be wearing a glove, they'll go dunk their hand in, and their glove is now full of what they were just using. So now their hand is just like living in a bath of that stuff. So make sure you have a glove that fits you properly. So that's the other thing too, is that I have very large hands. I very rarely can find gloves that fit me because of my hand size. Usually a 2X to 3X is what I need.
So definitely the glove size is important. I think Joey mentioned that in the comments earlier, which is super helpful. So let's talk, we went over PPE, but before we move away from this set, I do want to mention, we talked about working inside, outside. So obviously if you're working inside and you have a well ventilated area, again, watch the airflow and how things blow, because if you are like in a shop or in a garage, I have seen where people spray acid and it floats over to the other car and like smokes the next car sitting there or something. So always make sure of how your airflow is. But then also if you are working in the sun, and you're using acid, you want to make sure everything in the sun speeds up your process. So always good to have all of your stuff ready, laid out. Like Anthony was saying, make sure you have everything set to go so that you're not running back and forth trying to find stuff. So be totally prepared before you do anything like that.
I should also say too, we don't actually sell acid at the rag company. Like we actually don't sell a chemical that's like caustic like this, or at least this level of causticity. So just keep in mind, this is something that you can just buy at a detailing like supply store. For like the real like nitty gritty like bad details. This isn't something we sell. This isn't something you have to worry about. We are covering just a lot of this specifically because of this, but it could still apply to some other chemicals that we do sell, right? Even higher alkalinity chemicals, brake buster, things like that. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So, Sid, I'm excited for you. You're gonna jump right into this. And I'm just gonna go away.
Put my glasses on.
Drift off into
head over there.
the sunset.
I'll see you in a bit.
Okay. Do you want any of that? Gloves?
Nope, because I've got my mediums over here.
Oh, gotcha.
Because we talked about making sure you wear the right size, right? Okay, so real quick before I get started, I want to talk about why we chose to do this acid wash. So there's a lot of chatter on, social media and things about how should you unclog a coating. And there's a lot out there about doing these acid washes. So while they're not totally bad, we kind of wanted to address when a coating is clogged or you're coming out of winter and you want to do these major decons, is acid always the answer? There's a lot of people out there that think acid is like the holy grail. And so we kind of wanted to go through the three, obviously, to show you there is different ways to decon a car. And like anything else, you want to use the least aggressive when necessary. A lot of times people are thinking that acid wash is the only way to reset a coating, and I'm going to show you why maybe it's not. So if, let's say this coating is super clogged, needs to be rehydrated, or needs to get, decon cleaned out so that the hydrophobics come back. The biggest thing to note that never gets mentioned is the way coatings work is they obviously have layers within themselves. They're very microscopic. But what happens when you hit the panel with acid is it actually shocks the coating. So what this means is initially upon rinse off, it's going to look like the water behavior is completely stripped. So I see this a lot where people say, I just did the acid wash and now my coating's ruined. It's not ruined, it's shocked, because the hydrophobics on any coating only go a certain amount through that coating. So when the water behavior goes away and we think a coating's dead, it's not actually dead, just the hydrophobic layer is dead. So initially the acid will shock the surface and it will make you think you killed your coating. Now what will happen is after several hours that will come back, but initially it can be a little bit scary. So I will say this is certainly something that only a professional should do. I would never suggest that, a DIY enthusiast do this. And mainly, you don't need to use acid. So there's going to be lots of other ways that we can unclog a coating that are a lot safer. Really, acid, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I did the other half of my car so that we had some B-roll for later. That was the first time in my whole life I've ever put acid on one of my cars. So we are going to get started. I'm going to go grab my pressure washer hose because I want to show you guys what it looks like before. Just make sure that's working. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is obviously this car's coated, this fender's coated, has really nice water behavior. So we can see that, right? The coating's all good. And then we are going to talk about the acid. So now, obviously this coating's not necessarily clogged, but I want to show you guys what happens when you spray acid on the vehicle, what it does, and how long it takes to come back. Now, if I was doing this on a maintenance customer's car, so let's say they had water spots and so I wanted to do an acid wash, I need to know that that water behavior is going to be stunted. So then when I was done with this, maybe I would go back through with a topper or something like that just to kind of refresh that coating. But had you left it alone, it will eventually come back on its own. So we are going to just spray this panel down with acid, and I'm supposed to put my glasses on. Jeez, look at me. Not good at the PPE. So you got to have your glasses on so that if this splashes back, it doesn't get in my eyes. All right, so then when we are using acid, we usually let it dwell for a little bit. I don't need to let it dwell that long because there's not actually anything on the surface. It's not clogged and it does not have water spots. So, but what I want you to pay attention when I start using the water again is how the water behavior has essentially been killed in this coating. So when you are doing this yourself, that's what it looks like, and it's a little bit scary. Now, had I left that on the full recommended 2 minutes, it actually goes completely flat, which is not great. So we, do we want to show that B-roll now, Glenn, before I wash it? All right, so I'll just walk you guys through this. So this was me doing the same exact thing at home on the other side, and what I want you to see is obviously how the water behavior comes back hours later, because we obviously can't fast forward several hours after I do this. All right, so totally flat again. And this was several hours after. Now, this was only about 4 hours after, so that water behavior will even get better. It's doing its own job at kind of curing itself. So obviously it gets a little bit better back after time. So at about, I found about the 8-hour mark, which as soon as we wash this side, so I make sure I get this deactivated, I'll have Jimmy follow me to the other side and we'll hit that driver fender so that you can see the water behavior at this point, which is about 4 days later, is totally back. So now what I'm gonna do, obviously when we're using acid, we rinsed it, but now we need to actually deactivate it. And so you can use any kind of soap, APC for this, whatever you want. Generally speaking, you're gonna go into your normal wash. So just so that I'm not leaving acid on my car, I'm just gonna wash this fender and rinse it, and then we will run over to the other side and see how that driver fender is doing. And I will mention I did not cheat and put any protection on the other side at all. We've just left it for the weekend. All right, and see, still no real, it's got sheeting, but not the water behavior that we should have had from the beginning. All right, so now I'm gonna walk over here. We're gonna test the driver's side that we did the other day. And as you can see, this is 100% again. So that coating completely healed on its own over, probably 8 to 10 hours. So super nice. So does acid unclog your coating? Yes, it does. But it is not, I wouldn't say that it's the safest or always as necessary as people are using it so heavily on the internet now So you can absolutely do it. I don't necessarily think it's a good idea unless it's clogged by water spots or like heavy contamination. We're going to show you 2 other ways to maintain your coating. This is one, but just make sure that if you are doing this, that your coating actually needs it. Make sure you have all the right tools and that you are set, ready to go start to finish, because it is kind of a fast process. You don't want to leave acid on too long. So next we are going to go to iron decon, and we're going to jump over to Anthony for that. Or no, actually go to Dane. Dane, what do I want you to talk about? I heard that you have had some stuff on, why don't you tell us about, are you into Pontiac Aztecs?
Oh, great. We're going to talk about Pontiac Aztecs. That's great. Actually, you know, it's funny. I pulled up the Wikipedia article just in case we needed to pass a little time while the cars do their movement out there. I'm sure we can get like an overhead camera while I just happen to recite a little info for you. But, you know, the Pontiac Aztec marks an interesting point in time for the car landscape. Of course, you recall, if you're old enough, that when the PT Cruiser came around, kind of those car-based SUV things, before they were known as crossovers, people thought of SUVs as, well, that's a body-on-frame truck thing that just happens to have more body over where a pickup bed might be. You know, your Explorers were the analog to the Rangers, and your Blazers were the analog to the, say, the S10 pickup, or in the case of the full-size, like the Tahoes and such, those would have been your Silverados turned into an SUV. But in the case of the Aztec, it was an interesting thing because, much like the Lexus RX 300, which also brought about the beginning of the luxury crossover craze, the Pontiac Aztec marked kind of the adventure vehicle type stuff. A lot of what you see Subaru doing today, but I mean, everybody's got like overlanding vehicles and stuff these days. The Pontiac Aztec was right there in the late 90s in concept form. Right about 2000, actually, is when they released the first ones. And yeah, they get made fun of for looking real ugly, but at the same time, they had some pretty interesting features, some unique characteristics, and that funky shaped hatch in the back that, frankly, I mean, outside of like a Honda Insight or Prius, you're not going to get too many cars where the glass is formed that way in the back. Not even a Volvo P1800 ES will do that. Anyway, I digress. Pontiac Aztec, you could get a tent for the back of that thing. You could get a little cooler, little speaker setups, all kinds of fun stuff. Things we take for granted today. I mean, Rivian's putting like a Bluetooth speaker in the center console now and all kinds of stuff. But the Aztec was doing that way before anybody else was. Even the Honda Element, which I had one of those, I absolutely loved it. Aztec predates that. So, kudos to the Aztec for taking what was essentially the Pontiac Montana minivan basis, that platform underneath, and turning it into something different. Although, I'm a utilitarian at heart. I find that the sliding doors are more useful, in fact, than the fold-out doors. Just because, hey, you got kids in the back, you don't want to whipping the doors out. That's what sliding doors are for. They're awesome. Also, just storage needs, tight parking lots, etc. But no. Anyway, I keep getting stuck on tangents. It's what happens. But then again, that's what they asked me to do today, was bore you to death with a fun little tangent about cars that you don't care about. So, yeah. Anyway, the Aztec, probably nowadays best known as that car that Walter White drives in Breaking Bad, which they actually... the showrunner got a special custom color just for that particular Aztec. He wanted it to be as like drab and disgusting as possible. So they found like this perfect, just like, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. It's like Canadian goose poop or puke colored car. It's terrible, absolutely awful. The Aztec did not, in fact, come in that color, but they made it that color just for the show, just in case you wondered. But yeah, no, the Aztec, funky car. And my first memory of it was actually watching, was it the first or second season of Survivor, the reality TV show, where the prize at the end, the winner got a Pontiac Aztec. I think it was a black one, and it had like the tent and all that stuff. Anyway, that was quite a journey. Imagine you go through a grueling, just like absolutely horrific experience out in the jungle while a bunch of TV cameras are pointed at you, catching every single horrible compromised moment of you just like living in this competition with a bunch of other people. And at the end they go, congrats, your prize is a Pontiac Aztec. How would you feel? Tell me in the comments. I want to know. Anyway, Anthony, how are you doing out there, bud?
Well, Dane, that was all very interesting stuff there about the Pontiac Aztec. I don't think anybody really wanted to know that.
Oh, no, I told them as much.
I know. We thought it would kind of be a joke and you'd probably move on to something more serious or something that people cared about. I mean, I'm just glad you didn't go down a tangent of the Kia Rondo, right? I mean, for the...
That's the car for the person with nothing left to lose.
Yeah, they've pretty much lost everything. And what's that other random, I think it was, you said it was a Buick that is just like
the Buick Rendezvous. That was actually the, you talk about GM, they're famous for their badge engineering, where you have like the Sunfire and the Cavalier and like all these different cars. All the same car, just with different badges on them and stuff. The Buick Rendezvous was just a Pontiac Aztec, except they shaved all the harsh edges and made it smoother. It was
Dane,
an
thank
egg
you so much. All right, so anyways, we're going to be jumping into the main wash here. And so, thank you, Dane. What we have today is, again, a decon process, right? We've been going over decon, talking about kind of the ins and outs of that. One fun thing that people love to do is use a fallout remover, and then they like to follow up with some type of decontamination soap. Now, coming into spring, now is the perfect time to do, we'll call it a yearly decon. You're coming out of winter time, you still have a lot of that muck on your vehicle. There's going to be certain cases where you're going to want to use an APC, right, and go through, spray the undercarriage, spray the exterior of the car, any type of buildup there. This particular 350Z is, it's in good shape, right, for the most part. It's been pretty well maintained throughout winter, despite it barely having paint. It's been washed quite often, which doesn't really make sense. So it doesn't have necessarily the buildup that we would expect to need to use like an APC, but it does have some rust here. And for that, I have a different product that we can use for surface rust and also just general fallout contamination. So we're going to be going through today with Koch Chemie's Rapid Rust Remover. So this is a product that we don't highlight too often here on the channel, but this is going to be Koch Chemie's dedicated fallout remover. So this is going to be for general surface rust. This is going to be for iron fallout from brakes. It's going to be just a great product for removing that specific thing. Now, Magic Wheel Cleaner is very similar in a formula level, but also has some degreasing properties and whatnot designed for wheel cleaning. This is really not going to have any major degreasing properties, more so just focusing on that fallout. So it's a thick kind of product, has really good cling time, and a little goes a long way, but we're probably going to be using most of this bottle on this car behind me. So join me. I'm going to grab Jimmy here, and we're going to take a walk around and start spraying this. Now, a couple things I want to point out. Generally speaking, when we're doing a decon, you want to just identify how much dirt buildup is on the car itself, right? Do you need to rinse that off first? Do you need to go out and do a wash first before addressing most of the other contamination? And like Sydney said earlier, there's 3 ways to skin a cat, as she so elegantly said. There's different ways to approach fallout removing or removing iron contamination. You can do it by going in with a full wash first, spray the iron remover on, pray it does something, or you can go on it, use it basically just on the vehicle as it sits dirty. There's a light coating of dust on this car. I'm not super worried about having to rinse this off with this level of dirt. So just throwing that out there. People wonder, do I rinse it off first? Do I not rinse it off first? It's just how dirty the car is. If it's not that dirty, then don't rinse it off. If it is that dirty, then you probably want to rinse it off or at least go over that area. So we're going to go ahead and take our triple R here, and we're going to go through. We're going to hit some of this stuff right here. Specifically that, because I think that that's going to put on a pretty good show. And then what I like to do is generally focus on this kind of front area near the rotors. And if you want to, you can absolutely spray on your wheels. Now that's instant. Now if we want to check out this wheel here, I mean, yeah, it's instant there, but this wheel, I sprayed it and it reacted, I mean, literally in seconds. So sometimes with certain fallout removers, it takes a little bit of time, right? You'll sit there and be like, is it going to happen? Is it going to turn purple? It depends. Depends on the contamination, depends on the fallout remover. So we have some good spots right here. This is really starting to put on a pretty good show. I'm actually really happy with how that's looking. So that is something out of a crime scene right there. Go through, Now, you don't want to spray your windows. There's no point in doing that. But if you want to hit your lowers, you can hit some of your uppers depending on if you feel like you're up, you have what was it called? Rail yard? Yeah, rail yard. Yeah, I was about to say railway or rail runaway. If you have rail yard fallout and it lands on the top of your vehicle, or it's just brake dust from other people's cars, it could very well land on top. But we're going to go ahead and just spray it. Get the rear here. Whew, man, this car is something else. Believe it or not, I think this is actually Jimmy's favorite car. Might be. He's trying to eventually convert everybody to a 350Z, ideally. This stuff smells not bad, right?
Not bad.
Not bad. It has like a cherry smell to it. Remember when we
smell bad, but it attacks you.
Remember when we talked about PPE? Yeah, I mean, we have the door open, but I'm just gonna.
Yeah, like the gloves you don't have on.
Well, I'm not getting it on my hands, Jimmy. I'm doing this without even touching your car. We are simply spraying. I call this spraying and praying. We're gonna hope for the best. Ideally, we do this Decon, and it's got, basically the car has like a fresh coat of paint on it. Wow, pretty bad. Okay, so I'll put on some gloves now because we are going to probably get some little bit of residual soap or whatever onto our hand. But look at that front wheel. Gnarly. Absolutely gnarly. Seriously, the cling of Rapid Rust Remover is very impressive. It clings exceptionally well. So if you are finding that you have a lot of buildup and you're looking for like max dwell time, this is probably a pretty good product to use. So we'll go ahead and grab our spray gun here. Start doing some rinsing. Now, when letting it dwell, you don't want to let it dry on the surface. So as long as it's still wet, you're good. Don't do it in direct sunlight. Do it in a dry, cool area, ideally with some shade, and you should be good to go. There we go, looking good. Go ahead and start rinsing from the top here. Delicious. Ooh, you see that hatch? This thing is like, what is in that, Jimmy? Look at that. Oh. We go rinsing this out. Come back over here, backside. So what I was saying earlier, so look at our top of our trunk here. We do actually have a decent amount of buildup up top there. And it could just be because of all the downforce that this car creates, right? And all that's just creating this vortex of air. It comes back around to the top of that hatch. It's because when Jimmy's doing about 200 miles an hour in this thing, right? On some Idaho back roads. Yeah, that's what happens, right? High performance machine.
Anthony, I had to throw up Ronnie Yacht's comment here because he goes, I've sprayed iron remover, PNS Iron Buster, on a vehicle and then foamed over it, let it dwell, then rinse. The runoff is, as he says, Pesto Bishop Pink, which I think is a fun typo because he probably meant Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah.
But Pesto Bishop, that's a new line.
Pesto
Also,
Bishop
hello,
Pink.
Jimmy, in the back, man in the camera.
There
It's really
it is.
looking
Not
like a
the man
champ.
in the box, but the man with the camera.
That's right. I'm going to make myself disappear now. Bye-bye.
All right, so we're making our way around here. Let's put on a good show. Actually, I'm pretty happy with how much iron buildup was on this thing. Because sometimes, you go to make a video and you wash the car, thinking that you're gonna just have a decent amount of buildup that's gonna do something, and sometimes you're disappointed and you're like, what? That APC ate through most of that, or that that soap ate through most of that. We'll go ahead, rinse this off, and then what we're going to do is we're going to follow up with one of my, I'll call it my favorite smelling Decon soaps. So a Decon soap, let's just kind of define what that really is. A Decon soap, in my opinion, is anything that's going to have an alkalinity that is higher than pH balance. So if you are at that 9 of a pH, that 12 of a pH, that's when you're kind of getting to that higher level of alkalinity. That's going to do just a better cleaning job on its own, usually without physical agitation. Now, is that something that you use often? Depends. Depends on your environment. Depends on what the car is going through. But generally speaking, the higher alkalinity soaps that you use, the more often you use them, it could potentially dry out your trim. It could potentially start causing some fading. Your paint can kind of start drying out too if it's not well protected. So it's something that you want to use when and if needed. And you want to use it at the correct dilution, so you're not overdoing it often. But it's something that, here in Idaho where we live, typically on our cars here, people here at the Rag Company that take good care of their cars, we'll usually do it probably like once a year, maybe twice a year if needed for like a real decon, and then we'll go through with claying and things like that. But you don't need to use it every week, you don't need to use it every month, but it, again, kind of depends where you live. So decon soaps though are important, and if you can have one in your arsenal, I would recommend getting one that's either going to be kind of like a nuke that you can dilute as needed and just use when needed. Active foam is a good kind of happy medium, right? So let me see if I can get a better visual there for you. There we go. So active foam is going to be higher in pH than GSF, but lower in pH than, let's just say, super foam that we sell. So active foam is going to come in at a pH of 9.5, and this, again, perfect. That once, twice a year, quick decon, you foam it on, you let it dwell, and you can rinse it, move on to your GSF wash, and you're a happy camper. And what's nice too is that this also comes in a 1 liter size, whereas super foam does not currently come in a 1 liter size. So pick up active foam, use it. You can follow it up after using something like Triple R here. This does have a technically pH balance at 7.5. I don't know how they make that magic happen, but they do. So you can follow up right after that, and it's not going to be harmful. You don't have to neutralize anything other than just wash it with a standard soap. So here we go. So we're going to take our foam cannon here. Going to undo this. And this is, sandalwood. It's a dance party is what it is. It smells amazing. So you pour yourself a drink, lay down some active foam. You're going to feel like you are, at Amsterdam Lounge in downtown Boise, Idaho, right? During TRCMA week, right? Just feels amazing. The lights are flashing, music's pumping. You're drinking some shots of Purple Viking is what we have. It's a specialty shot that we have here in Idaho. So if you ever visit, they're horrible. They taste disgusting. They're actually not even, I don't even think they're meant to be, I don't know. It's just something.
Do not recommend.
Dane doesn't recommend the Purple Viking. He had a bad experience with it once. But why am I talking about this? Why am I not just foaming, right? Let's just get to the main thing here. All right, so active foam. Beautiful. This is going on thick. This is going on really thick. Now, active foam is something you can also spray in your undercarriage as well. So if you want to get on your hands and knees and you want to start spraying underneath the car, you could absolutely do that. This would be a more effective soap doing that than, let's just say, a standard pH balanced soap. A lot of people think that when they spray on like a pH balanced soap on the undercarriage that it's doing something, and it's not doing a whole lot, to be honest. It's really probably not penetrating the layer of dirt or just the general road filth that you're getting. So you do need something a little bit more cleaning power. This is a good product for doing that. So, going through. I'm running low. I'm running low. There we go. There we go. I think I sprayed probably half that bottle on the side of the car. But it looked cool. It looked cool for sure. So, I'm going to go ahead and grab our nozzle. Now, again, same thing applies here when you are using a product like this. So, do it out of direct sun, ideally in a shaded area if you can. Dwell time, don't let it dry. If it starts drying, you start rinsing. It's pretty simple there. And then outside of that, just let it do its work. I mean, that's the whole point. You're spraying this on to let it do its job. And its job there is to sit and dwell. And after that, you rinse it and you go straight into your next process, whether it's going to be a physical hand wash. I don't know, let's just say you just want to just raw dog it, or you just want to rinse it and just go drive away. You can do that as well. So a couple different options there. Trying to think if there's any other tips and tricks that I would throw down in this step. If you wanted to, while this is dwelling, and you wanted to start working some areas that generally have maybe some buildup, that you want to take a detail factory brush, maybe like a bucket, you can start going through and knocking out maybe some of your badges and stuff like that, especially if you're going to do a polish. You can start kind of getting in between your door jambs while this is dwelling. You can start knocking out wheels if you feel like you're fast enough to do that. I don't think most people are for a full decon process, but if you let this dwell inside here and you go, I'm going to just do a quick run around of the wheels, that's a good use of time. Otherwise, you're just kind of sitting here and letting paint dry. So let's go ahead and rinse this thing. So top to bottom rinsing, bottom to top rinsing, different strokes, different folks, whatever you want to do. I'll just go top to bottom. You know what? I would say there's definitely an improvement. All right. Oh, Jimmy, I hit your car with the hose. I'm super sorry about that.
Do you think you'll notice?
All right. So, yeah, quick little run around here, nothing crazy. But this process doesn't take long. Your other option too would be that if you did not want to, let's just say, spray a fallout remover and you wanted to just go straight into the, you just wanted to, I'm bouncing back and forth between cameras right now. Let me find you, little red dot, I see you. Come back here. So if you want to just go in, let's just say fallout remover is not needed, and you just want to do a quick little decon pre-soak, you do exactly what we just did, but you just don't use that. So you'll go on dry with active foam, let it dwell for a little bit, rinse it, and you are good to go. So yeah, no, but this is great. I'm pretty excited with how this looks. And I mean, I think Jimmy is excited too. It looks slightly better. But anyways, we're gonna continue rinsing this. I'm gonna get this probably out of here. I don't know what he's gonna do. I think he's gonna go take this and go do some street drifting right after this. But I did want to pass this back over to Dane and get his thoughts on the whole process. What do you think, Dane?
No, I'm enjoying it so far. I've really found the whole thing to be engaging. I hope people watching at home have found the same. I did have some questions and stuff, but I'll save those for the Q&A section here at the end of the video.
Absolutely.
Where we can touch on, several different things they've seen today. But anyway, yeah, thanks, Anthony.
Cool. All right, well, that's going to be it for me. So I guess back to you.
Oh, yeah. They're not prepared. So, sorry, guys. We're going to go on a little history lesson again with the Pontiac Aztec because you didn't hear enough the first time. Right. You're probably listening right now going, wait, what does the Pontiac Aztec have to do with detailing cars? It doesn't really, although I'm sure some of you have detailed them before, or possibly not. I don't know if the current owners are interested in having their vehicles detailed. Only you guys can tell me. I have to find out from the comments below. But anyway, let's get into a little bit of the Wikipedia article on the Pontiac Aztec. I'll just read it verbatim, and you tell me what you think while these guys move the cars around. So, touching on the original concept phase of the Pontiac Aztec, first shown to the public in 1999, the Pontiac Aztec concept car was well received. That's a strange thought. It featured, quote, extreme futuristic styling and promised maximum versatility in support of a young and active lifestyle for its intended Generation X buyer demographic. So, Gen Xers, were you interested in the Pontiac Aztec when it came out? Tell me. I want to know in the comments. Following on, the Aztec went on sale in summer of 2000 as a 2001 model. I distinctly remember that because of the whole Survivor thing, which it actually does mention here. The production edition of the Aztec was launched with the tagline, quote, quite possibly the most versatile vehicle on the planet, in conjunction with CBS's hit reality show Survivor in 2000. That's right. So for those of you who are old like me, or perhaps older, you, of course, remember this. And hey, if you're new and you were born sometime after all this happened, you're learning now. So I'm glad that you came to a detailing podcast / video production event to find out this information. It looks like they're still moving cars around, so let's move on to the styling section, which I think is going to be probably the most interesting and pertinent part of the entire Aztec experience here. Let's take a look. The Aztec was styled under the direction of Tom Peters. So that's who you can look to blame or thank for the design of the Pontiac Aztec, which, very interestingly, he would go on later to design the C7 Chevrolet Corvette. So that's a bit of a curveball there, actually, when you think about it. I remember when the C7 came out, or when it was being designed, a lot of people were actually very upset when they found out they hadn't seen final designs, but they heard it was being designed by the guy who designed the Aztec. And I remember being on forums at the time, people were freaking out. They're like, oh no, this is going to kill the Corvette. I can't believe it. What are they doing? Then some of the early pictures came out and people saw the taillights and they kind of went, oh, they got rid of the circles. I want my quads. What are they doing back here? Kind of forgetting that they did the squircle thing in the latter part of the C4 generation. You'll remember they went from the circular taillights to the squircles there in the early mid-90s towards the end of the C4 generation. But yeah, then of course came out with the C5, which had circles in the back, although they were slightly, they were extended circles, so they're kind of ovoid. They weren't like perfect circles. They were kind of stretched circles, if you will. Anyway, way off base there. You went to the C6. The C6 got perfect circles, and then you moved on to the C7 where things got a little crazy because guess what? Tom Peters, the guy who designed the Pontiac Aztec, did do the C7 Corvette, and those taillights, well, they weren't going to be normal. You could trust. Anyway,
wonderful.
Anthony is saying something. Let's go see what Anthony and Sid are talking about. I was busy, but apparently you guys got more to show. We're not done yet.
Yeah, no, that was just a wonderful history lesson, Dane. Thank you so much. So
Happy to help.
We'll take it from here, actually.
Okay.
Thanks. All right, so Sid, we have a different car now behind us, and we have another full cart here full of different detailing products that we're going to be using today. So what are we doing?
So this is my preferred method of decon. So obviously, like we talked about in segment 1, the acid is the most aggressive, not really my favorite to do because I think it's a little bit overused, sometimes unnecessary, and can be a little bit less safe. So then we did the iron decon, which is a great thing to do if you have iron present on your paint, and that's the only way to get iron off is to do an iron decon. This is going to be your most common run-of-the-mill coating maintenance that you need to do that is safe, fun, effective, and this should be your kind of first course of action, and then move up from there if you still have decon present. So we are going to do a regular decon wash. We are going to be using Foaminar.
Foaminar, baby.
Is that actually
That's
what
it.
it's called?
It's not called Foaminar.
Right.
I mean, that's like code name.
Yeah, so it's actually called Optimum Hyperfoam No Rinse, but Foaminar is the fun way to call it. We are going to be using wheel and tire cleaner from ADS just so we make sure we don't leave those behind. And then we are actually going to foam this on, and then we're going to go straight into our wash.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. So what we're going to do, we'll do probably a quick little pre-rinse, right?
Okay, yeah.
Just the car, just the exterior, just a little pre-rinse. Then we're going to foam on Foaminar, right? We're going to do 4 ounces in the foam cannon.
Yep.
And then while that is just literally sitting there, we're going to knock out the wheels.
Yeah.
And then right after that, we are going to take a 256-to-1 dilution in the bucket and just wash the car.
Yep.
And
So-
then dry it. I mean, we're going to wash it and then
we're
your
going to
decon
clay
process.
and seal. Yes.
Yep.
So this is where we are going to use our clay scrubbers, which is synthetic clay, vine grade. This is going to do a great job at decontaminating the paint. We are going to be using Bead Maker as our sealant, clay lube in this process. We're going to do that right with the Foaminar on the surface because that's giving us the extra lubricity. The polymers are still active on the surface. It's going to make this process very safe and effective. And then we are going to dry. We're going to touch up the glass, and we're going to be done. Now,
good.
I will say we chose to do this versus just a straight rinseless because this is one of the employees here, Anthony Blaine, we call him AB. This is his car. And I know me personally for weeks I've been like, oh, you got to leave your car dirty. You got to leave your car dirty. So it's pretty dirty.
Oh, dude, this thing's filthy.
It's
I mean,
pretty dirty.
That's pretty
So we felt like we needed to use a little bit extra.
Yeah, so
a little bit extra.
What's going to happen? Sid's going to do the dilution, the pouring of this, and she's going to mix in the foam can. I'm going to start rinsing, but I do want to show Jimmy just how filthy this car is, so you can actually get a good idea. So if we come over here, you'll see this side panel. I mean, I don't want to have to do this, but can we just come right here, Jimmy, to where my finger is? Please, I know. I'm gonna lick my finger. Ready? Here we go. And oh, that kills me to do that. But you know what? There is a film on this car, and it needs to go. I think that is either a piece of bird poop or I don't know what that is, a seed of some sort that's sitting right there as well. Back hatch. Jimmy, you got to get this. Before I start rinsing it, because it's going to just start getting, all hidden. Pretty bad. And there is poop on the hood.
There
Blaine,
is, wow.
you got to get that off the second you see it. Well, let's hope it didn't etch,
It
right?
looked like he had something for dinner that he shouldn't have.
All right, let's start rinsing. Sid, I'm just going to go through, try to get some of this stuff broken up here. And we're going to do nothing crazy because that Foaminar is going to be doing a lot of the work here. Go through.
Now, while Anthony is washing, I do want to go through what we're kind of seeing water behavior-wise, because this will be important later. So, as we can see, everything from like the midline up has super great water behavior. So, if you're an avid watcher of the show, you know that this car is coated in stout. So the water behavior is going to be great. We do live in Idaho. We're coming out of winter, and so we've got contamination from the midline down, just from our streets in winter, and we had a dirty acid rain a couple weeks ago, and so that water behavior is not great on the lowers. But this process alone is going to revive that coating just by getting that contamination off there with the clay. It's going to reseal, it's going to revitalize the coating, and if we were to hit it with water after we did the clay and seal, the top then would match the bottom. So definitely worth noting here that nothing is wrong with this coating. It's just what we call clogged, which is exactly why we're doing what we are doing today.
That's pretty much all you need to do, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically, we are doing a rinseless wash.
Yeah.
But it's that common sense of saying,
Yeah.
hey, there's dirt on the car, probably should
Right.
rinse a little bit of
Yeah,
this off.
totally.
Because people always go, what are the limitations of a rinseless? You
Right.
can't just go into that.
Yeah.
Well, you could, but
Yeah.
sometimes you probably just,
Yeah.
if you have access to running water and you can do a quick rinse,
Yeah. Yeah.
it'll be faster in the long run. So that's that. So really,
Yeah.
now what we're gonna do is just throw this foam on and let this dwell, and then we're gonna start knocking out these wheels. What do you think?
Yeah, and I do want to mention too that because you just brought up, what does it mean to do a rinseless wash? So is there limitations? Is there any wrong way to do it? Absolutely not. There is definitely times where when I'm doing this in my shop, I choose to like foam on active foam like we did on the last vehicle. I'll do that as like a pre-spray, pre-loosen everything up, and then I rinse the active foam off, and then I go straight into just a typical rinseless wash in the bucket. So you can do it that way. You can obviously do your normal, multiple foam wash. You can do what we're doing today with foam and R. There's really like no wrong way to do this. It's whatever you feel is best for that situation. Now for me, where I work out of my home garage, a lot of times I do just do a pre-rinse, or I will even use prepared rinseless in like a keg sprayer and get the surface super wet. So it's whatever you feel is best, but there's no wrong way to do it. The only thing with rinseless is you probably don't need to post rinse it, but there's nothing that says you absolutely can't pre-rinse it. So keep that in mind. There's no wrong way here. It's whatever is best for you. So this is really interesting. I've never seen this product before, so I'm actually super excited about this. And so Anthony, question for you. So we're putting this on the surface. How long can it, and obviously we're inside, but how long can it actually sit there safely?
Honestly,
Pretty good
indefinitely.
amount of
So
time, right.
when we were doing the initial testing of this product, I actually just let it dry.
Okay, yeah.
So I went through and let it dry on the surface just to see what would happen. It's a very interesting chemistry, right? So
Yeah.
it kind of like looks like an oil slick when it dries.
Yeah,
And
okay.
it wipes away cleanly. There's no
Okay.
issues there. But I do think it has to do with your water as well, right?
Okay.
So if you're using really hard water, it will still have that kind of softening
Yeah.
effect, right?
With
Where
the
it'll kind of keep
polymers,
the
sure.
minerals from really kind of settling. But
Okay.
I do think that having deionized water like we have here makes it a very
Yeah.
there's bulletproof system. But
Okay.
if you have some high mineral content water, I do think letting it dry probably wouldn't be the most ideal thing.
Okay.
But it's going to sit here and be able to dwell,
Very cool.
no issues in drying at all.
Very cool, awesome. So obviously, like we should always mention, if you're working out in the sun, you're not gonna have as much working time as we have here in the studio or inside of a climate controlled shop. So keep that in mind. If you're working in the sun, you may wanna get right to work on your wash and do your wheels separately, but we're gonna do them together. So I'm actually gonna get started on spraying down our wheels. So we're gonna be using ADS wheel and tire. Anthony's going back in for a second coat. That's so cool. Awesome. All right,
it.
well, I'm going to prep our wheels
And that's
here.
honestly, that is the last time that we have to rinse this with any type of running water.
Yeah, we will probably want to rinse the wheels and tires.
Oh, sorry, yes, you're right. The wheels and tires, since we are doing that, old school way,
Yeah.
we'll probably need to do it that way. That's totally fine. I'm gonna grab myself a set of gloves here since we talked about PPE earlier. And I am going to probably be right behind you. But I'm going to take my fancy Viper kneeling cart is what I'm gonna do.
Yes. That thing is pretty cool, I'm not going to lie.
And I'm
It's pretty
also, since we have our wheel bucket here, I am gonna go ahead and throw
Look at that browning, that's crazy.
just an ounce or two into here. Actually, I'll probably just do 2 or 1 ounce, so 2 capfuls, just to get some of that in there as well, so we can help kind of neutralize a little bit of that wheel cleaner. I got myself a brush, a couple brushes, and then I'm gonna, guys, I don't know if you've seen this. Has anybody seen this yet? It's amazing. Oh, this is the one that's kind of flipped, but that's okay. No, it's okay. Watch this. Watch. So nice. It's like the perfect height. It is the perfect height. So we'll come over here, take this, and start doing our scrubbing. Quick little ring around here.
I want to mention real fast that, because the chair, it is really cool. So we've talked about PPE and being safe. So if we talk about ergonomics as well, I have a super bad habit of squatting, like I just was, right?
Yeah.
So probably, I've been doing that for 15 years. Probably in like 5 years, I'm not going to be able to walk downstairs. I'm not going to be able to
You need
do
some new
anything.
knees. What do you think?
Because I'm blowing out my knees. So for sure, these types of stools are great.
Yeah.
I have them in my shop. I just am so bad and
Yep.
kneel. So on the safety train, we'll mention it's a good idea to have a cart.
Totally.
All right, I'm going to go through and just like pre-scrub around the lug nuts for you.
Yep. And I'm not doing a crazy. I'm basically just doing a quick little scrub on these wheels. Not
they're
doing
in
a
pretty good
full insane barrels or anything like that. So we're gonna go ahead and shimmy
Nice.
on down. What? No, why would I need that? Look at this. What do you think? We need a what?
Michael Blass wants to know what stool that is again. Remind folks.
So this is the Viper. It's called the Mini Creeper is what it's called. It is life-changing. I mean, this is the most comfortable I think I've ever been cleaning a wheel ever. Normally, again, I'm on my knees and it hurts. Sid does the same thing. We're squatting down. Look at this. They call this, it's like a squat. And, Eastern European squat is what this is, but it's with a chair for support. So, yeah.
Now you can flip it, right? It can be both directions. You can change if it's a low or a high mode.
We can. We have 2 different versions. So Sid has one. I'm going to take this other here. Sorry, I got so lost in talking about this that I forgot that I'm
this
actually
is the
supposed to be doing some
real low one.
cleaning.
This one's really low.
That one's not a squatter. That one's a kneeler, Sid.
Oh.
That one we have it set in the kneeling
I was
position.
going to say I feel a little too low because then I have to somehow get up.
Yeah, we have that one set in the kneeling position. We have the other one set in the.
Oh, got it.
This one's set in the squatting position.
Nice.
But I'm gonna go through.
Well, you look like you're doing a great job there.
I
So how
am-
about while you finish that, I'm going to
Okay.
start working on the
paint?
contact
Oh, cool.
wash.
Yeah, do it.
So I'll save it for you to do the clay and seal, but I'm going to go ahead and start on the contact
you go
wash.
for it.
All right.
I'll be there. I'll be there momentarily.
Okay, so I did put in 3 capfuls of the Foaminar into our bucket. So we do have a little bit extra lubricity. Now, like I said, I've never done this before, so this is super interesting.
All you're doing is just literally
Love it.
washing it, and then we're gonna go into claying it, and we're gonna dry it.
Wow,
It's
so
a
cool.
pretty trick little system here.
That is really.
I think it's what it is. It's for people who need to eventually get to like rinseless washing,
Yeah.
but they have a hard time doing the transition. This is the transitional learning experience.
Okay.
Like this is those people who they're not sure if they trust it. They want to see foam and suds. So this is what they can use. And they'll get all the effects of a rinseless, but with that visual effect of the foam.
So I'm not gonna lie, the part that's gonna freak me out is the drying.
Yeah.
So
Right?
we're gonna
I know
see
it
how that
does.
goes.
It does, but then it just dries normal and you go, that's weird, and
Yeah.
you move on.
Well, we'll see how this
All
goes.
right. These wheels I call these flicker wheels. These are no matter what you do. This is where I want my my kitty mitty. Where's my finger mitt? I need my kitty mitty. I'm just getting too much flick.
So, do you feel like
Gabriel's coming to save me right now.
Do you feel like the UBS is the best?
No, the kitty mitty. We don't have one. We don't have one pulled?
Oh, goodness.
Anyways, I'm just going to continue washing. We have a wool mitt. It's a finger wool mitt. It's the best thing ever. It's awesome. No, we have a finger wool mitt. It's the best thing ever. I absolutely love it. One of my favorite wheel cleaning tools that we have, made of real lamb's wool, super soft, super safe, doesn't bleed. It's amazing. If you hate the flick of brushes, then I recommend checking it out. Oh my God, it's in my mouth again because of the flick.
But remember, we're supposed to not open our mouth.
I know, but
I mean, I
here's
know
the
you have
thing.
to talk, but
I'm talking, but I'm also just in shock and awe of how great this wheel and tire cleaner is.
it's so good.
So that's why.
So good.
While you guys are doing that, I'm going to pop up colleague Carlos's comment here. Boy, say that 3 times fast. He wants to know, how can you tell when you fully decontaminated the surface? Is it just by feel with the clay, or do you guys have another method that you trust?
Feel, look. I mean,
Yeah.
once you start doing this for long enough, you can just look at a car and go, okay, that's gonna be stuck.
Yep.
But feel when you're getting started is a huge way to do it. And basically, if the paint, no matter really how old it is, could still feel like glass no matter what, right? The clear coat, that top coat, can still feel good if a proper decon and polish is done. But for newer cars, people don't really know, like, how do I know if my car is deconned, or how do I know if it's contaminated? The bag test is a good way to do it. Put your hand in a little baggie, you can run it across, and if you feel little imperfections in the paint, you can know that maybe there's some contamination there. But really, yeah, it's something that comes with a little bit of time, but not much. I mean, once you're new to detailing, you start doing this pretty often, within a month or two, and you get enough cars under your belt, you'll know. And that'll be it. And then you'll never have to guess again. It's kind of like seeing swirls for the first time. Once you can identify them, you can't really unsee them.
Well, then I've also got this one here from Car Lovers asking, is the 2-bucket method the safest for avoiding car scratches?
The 2-bucket method, I think back in the day, before chemicals really got to the point where they're at now, where we have this real huge advancement in chemicals from rinseless washing to soaps, I think it was a very important thing, probably, and that's also when our wash medias weren't very good. That was when people were still using, let's just say, lamb wool mitts, like full wool mitts, those early kind of microfiber mitts that weren't very good. Back in the day, yes, that would have been something that I think would have been your safest method. Nowadays, with modern microfiber and better chemicals, it's less and less necessary, especially if you're using a foam cannon, pressure washer, all this stuff. So I can tell you that I do not, on my own personal cars, do a 2-bucket method anymore. It's just not needed. I have enough experience seeing the befores and afters and all the different scenarios that I have not induced any damage, ever. So that's just me. Now, with that said, there's going to be people that still like the old school method of doing it, and they still feel warm and fuzzy inside, and that's okay. All right, so the wheels are done. I wish I had my little finger mitt, but it's okay. And I'm going to take the pressure washer and I'm going to rinse this off, mainly because we used a cleaner that generally you would want to rinse off. So I'm going to go ahead and get the pressure washer and do that.
So this is wild. I'm trying to trust the process here. So you guys at home, I'm right there with you. This looks a little crazy. I put on my sunglasses so you couldn't see my shock on my face. But I'm trusting the process. Trusting the process. I do feel like, I will say, I do feel like the dirt is coming off really well. Like I do feel that. Now don't get the urge to rinse, right? Because I want to see how this goes.
Rinsing anything. I'm just doing the wheels.
Now, another question, because I'm going to ask it for the audience. If somebody, like, do you have to contact wash this? Could you just foam it on and then dry it? Or would you always need to do a contact?
You're saying you foam it on and dry it?
Yeah, so always do the contact, right?
I would. You probably could just go straight into drying it. I
If
think
it was only like
if it was
moderately
like
dirty.
mildly dirty, yeah. But at that point, right, you're just might as well just commit.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out the limitations of this. It's pretty cool.
While you guys are doing that, I've got Dan's Diamond Detailing, another fun alliteration, saying, what products are in the wash bucket? He forgot.
Oh, just the foam and R. So we did 4 ounces of it in the foam cannon, and then I put 3 capfuls in the bucket because it's just the normal 256 to 1. So it would be a ½ ounce per gallon. We had about 3 gallons in our bucket, so we added 3 capfuls. So same product that we foamed on.
All right, Sid, where am I jumping into
So
to
how
help
about
you
you
out?
do the back? I have everything done except the rear end, and I'm just getting ready to do this side.
Roof?
Oh, you can do the roof because you're way taller than me.
Okay, I'll do the roof. Let me grab myself I can just stand on it. Oh, never mind, I can't stand on it.
You know what? I did a rinseless wash yesterday with the mitt on a stick.
Where's
Loved
my
it.
mitt on a stick?
Yeah, loved it with the mitt on the stick.
That's a good idea.
Is it ready to go?
It's back there.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go, you know what? No, you know what? I will.
I loved it.
I'll get my mitt on a stick
Yeah,
because
serious hack.
Anthony, while
see.
you're looking for that, I got a question for you.
Because guess what? The replacement covers are in the drawer over there. Okay. Are they live on the website yet, Jimmy? Replacement mitt on a stick covers, because I know that we've got them in, and I know we're working on getting them live.
I
They
feel
are
like
live.
maybe I saw some in the drawer back there.
Sweet.
Did you find one?
Yep, I did. All right, so if you've ever been curious on how to install a mitt on a stick cover, it's very easy. You have the head of the mitt on a stick. This has been used now for, what, 6-7 months now. We've been abusing this thing. It's still in perfect shape. We're gonna take our cover and we're gonna go ahead and slide this on over the top, which is a nice snug fit. We're gonna bring the back section around, and then we're gonna bring up these button snaps here. And you're gonna go ahead and just make sure you get those pulled out. And you are going to snap this into place. And what's nice is the button snaps are completely covered. They will not scratch or mar or anything like that because they physically cannot contact the surface once they're tucked in. So take that and snap this one in as well. This one's a firm snap. Firm snap on this one. Oh, I had that tucked up. There we go. Cool. Look at that. Done. Go over to our bucket here. And I'll knock out the roof in literally probably less than a minute. Oh,
Oof.
amazing.
Isn't it great?
It's amazing. Oh, and this is super slick with this stuff.
Yeah.
This feels great.
I had a Tundra yesterday, and I did the roof, the windshield, and the back window, you know, and then
Yeah.
the tonneau cover. And
Really?
I was like, okay, this is the best thing
Yeah.
ever. Literally.
Yep. I'm never washing roofs again by hand.
I know.
Just not gonna do it. Windshield too, why not? Since
Yeah.
I'm just here, just knock that out really quick.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to do it, but I know that I missed a big
I'm gonna get in
section in the
there.
middle.
I also
Alright.
like the smell of this stuff. It smells like fruit punch. You notice that?
Yeah.
It's a nice fruity mass appealing scent.
Okay, I'm gonna take these out in case you need
'Kay.
more. You're good on water?
I am done.
Okay.
Yeah, I am done. So what is next? Clay?
Clay. Yep, clay and seal.
'Kay.
So we can, okay, so again, just to recap, we are doing, so we have the foam and R on the surface. We are gonna use a sealant. Beadmaker works really good for this. It's got a lot of lubricity. We're gonna use our clay scrubbers, which is a fine grade synthetic clay, perfectly safe. And we still have this sitting on the surface, so we're even totally safe.
Okay, so I'm gonna go through and start doing this and get this whole side done. Is that probably best for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I like a lot, but
All
we're
right.
doing good.
I'm throwing down You tell me what is your ideal.
That's probably pretty good.
Okay.
Okay, so real quick too, I want to go over this since we're doing this, is we are obviously doing the sealant and the clay in one. We're using it as a clay lube, and then it is also, you know, making contact with the paint, cross leaking, and it's going to revive the coating, and like the hydrophobics, the gloss, the slickness, all that good stuff. And what's nice when you're, and I know you guys can't hear on camera, but when you're doing this process, obviously when I'm up towards the top, I don't hear or see that much, but as we move to those lowers, then we can hear that contamination coming off. We can feel it through the clay. And so that tells us how many times we need to go over it. Because this coating is still in the first half of its life and it's been very well maintained, it actually is going to bounce back really quick. So this is going to be a really quick process for us. Super nice.
This feels really good with this foam and R. I'm like,
yeah, it does. I like the way that it's working together. That's actually pretty cool.
I didn't know how it was gonna, because we've actually never tested this theory before, to be honest.
Yeah.
But like, I kind of figured it would work, and it feels super, super
really
slick.
slick.
Super, super
Well,
slick.
and now, like, I can see that it is no longer going to be a problem to dry. So super cool. All right.
Okay.
Quick and easy.
I'll go to the hood and the front bumper. Do you want me to get the rear for you
Yeah,
here?
just sprayed it down and I'll catch that, yeah. So now, obviously he just sprayed it on the glass. That is perfect because that's actually giving us all of the lubricity. This is going to decontaminate, shine up that glass, make it super easy to do at the end of the wash. Super, super easy.
And since you're going to be fast, I'm just going to keep going around the car.
Yeah,
because I know you're quick at this.
Well, and I think we're on a time crunch now. Yeah, so obviously I do this every single day in my shop. Now the good thing is, let's talk about rinsing out your clay. How often do you need to do it? I usually do it every panel. You also are going to judge how much contamination is on the surface. There's not a lot on this car, so this is really, really going to go quick and easy. It's going to look so nice. So I always say that to just your regular maintenance wash, doing a wash clay seal, sometimes you're really only adding like 10 minutes to the whole process.
Yep.
So this is what I call like the ultimate money maker, is doing these ceramic coating maintenance.
Totally. Well, and the one thing I do want to point out too is that you could just use foam and R as a clay lube if you wanted to do that, but you're not going to get that sealing effect that you're going to get with bead maker.
Right.
So
Yes.
what's nice is it's super, super slick. But I do want to say though that you are going to be probably using a decent amount of bead maker. Fortunately, it's pretty affordable.
Yeah.
So just plan on using a lot, depending on the size of your vehicle.
Definitely am not conservative when it comes to the bead maker on the surface. Just because I want to make sure I have plenty of lubricity.
Yep.
I really want it to pop at the end. And then we're not going to do it today, but obviously after this, you could spray this down with, you know, Amplify or Defender, like another topper if you wanted.
Yep, totally.
For a little bit longer protection. But this has Stout on it. Stout does a pretty good job by itself.
I'm going to go ahead and get this front bumper here, and I think we're good to dry after this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, even on the front bumper, this feels great. I thought this was going to be really gritty, but it's awesome.
That's good. Yeah. We're not going to worry about cleaning the roof because there's really not any contamination on the roof.
And we do
So
have a little bit of a
obviously
time
just
crunch, yeah.
Doing our normal maintenance, I would, if this was a car in my shop, I would just get up there with either the bead maker before I dry it or, you know, putting the Defender on the top.
Totally.
Afterwards.
I did not do that side of the
Okay,
glass. Let me
are
get
we
that
good?
Really quick. I think we're good, so I'm going to start drying if that
sweet.
works for you.
Yeah. Yep.
I want to see your thoughts too. How did this idea work?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm interested to see what happens to this foam.
Whew. That feels good.
It dries super easy. Super easy.
You guys are doing a great job, and I'm just going to remind the audience here that yes, if you have questions, we're going to get to those in the next segment during our Q&A regarding Decon. So we're going to be covering all the subjects that we touched on today. Ask your questions in the chat. I will put them in the queue, and we'll start hitting them up once these guys are finished with the Mazda.
Sweet. And Jimmy, if I can get you to come to the hood real quick. So this is like a real world scenario, right? So like I mentioned a few weeks ago, we had in Boise what we call dirty rain, acid rain. So hypothetically, this is a car that comes into my shop. I'm the detailer. I do this whole wash process. There is like the faintest water spots on the hood. So in this case, this car comes into my shop. If I did not catch that in the beginning, that there was just these very faint water spots, this is where maybe on the hood you would do that acid wash process that I did. Now, if we've already gotten to this process, we could easily go back through with an acid wash, just like I did on my Jeep. You would spray it, let it dwell for a little bit, rinse it off, deactivate it, re-dry. Super easy, but I did want to mention that this is where you go, okay, I need to go to level 2 here. So it's actually kind of cool that that's that way, so that we can point out where we're going to start with the least aggressive, but if we need to go back, or if we knew that those water spots were there ahead of time, we would have been able to start with that. So super cool to actually have where you would need to shift gears. All right, super easy to dry though. I do really like that.
Yeah, this thing looks awesome actually. I mean, I'm looking at it, I see a little bit of some residual foam and R, right?
Yeah, like especially up in the grill.
But what's funny is that, so when in all the testing I did with it, when it dries, it just disappears. Like I said, the only evidence that you would have is there'd be like a little bit of like an oil slick effect, but then it just wipes up.
Well, and I too, like obviously again, if I was in my shop, I would take a blower to that grill, and I'm sure it would blow mostly out and it would be totally fine.
Yeah, that would take literally a second to do and you'd be done.
Sweet. Yeah, it looks good, but it does look like the acid rain that we get. We get it every year, one time. It messes up everybody's car.
Yep, I know. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but yeah. I think I got hit with my cars as well. But what's weird is that I think this year it didn't really do the damage it normally does.
Yeah, sometimes it's
bad.
Well, and it only rained for just a few minutes, so if your car happened to be outside, you got it.
Michael here wants to know if you guys already did the front grille.
We washed it, we have not dried it. So that is where we were actually just chatting about the foam kind of hanging around. So you can either take your towel and dig all that foam out, or like Anthony's saying, it will eventually just dissipate on its own and not leave any marks or bad stuff behind.
Well, I'll show you kind of what I would do really quick. I would just go and grab a quick little eco blower and just do a quick little blast.
Blow it out of there. But overall, this looks and feels fantastic. It's super shiny. We're not going to do it for the sake of time, but if we took our pressure washer and re-sprayed these lowers, you would see that they're totally revived.
Rip eardrums.
Go back through, just mop it up, and we're done there.
Cool.
Very simple. Very, very fast.
Overspray, and then the grill will just settle out on its own for sure.
Okay. What do you guys think? I think it looks really good.
I think it looks good.
I'm like stoked.
It feels so much better.
I'm stoked with that. I think this looks really, really good.
I think that chin splitter kind of area ahead of the passenger side front tire, that black trim area looks like it needs a wipe.
Right here?
Below that, so right up front. Yeah, it's the underside there. Yeah, that was just looking rough on camera. But now we're looking good. Yeah, the whole lower just needed some help.
There we go.
Cool. Now we do have a slight etching from that bird dropping, but you know what we're gonna do is we'll go put this thing out in the sun, and we'll let the UV do its work and see if we can that can back that out. And if it can, awesome. If it can't, then we repolish it.
Yeah, but you know what's super great about that is we can take therapy on like a soft pad,
Yep.
polish that out, and we don't necessarily need to recoat it. So that's kind of the beauty. If you're using the right polish, you're not gonna have to worry about compromising the coating.
Yep.
But yeah, it looks good.
Agreed.
It looks good. Off camera, we would just, the only things we'd need to go back would be we'd touch up the windows. We did get out some reflect, but we'll probably save that for when we're done here. But you could just touch up the windows, obviously apply tire dressing, wipe down the wheels, and this car is ready to go. Super cool.
Also, Michael wants to know
Yeah.
what the green towel was that Anthony was using there. That is a new color for that towel, so that
this
may be
one?
why he didn't recognize it. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the new green FTW. So it's just a different color, super great. I love it. For those who like to color code their towels, I like to use these for any like paint prep or glass. Obviously I use the blue as my main glass, but I've ended up using the green as well if I'm using like a paint prep as my glass cleaner. So just a new color for the FTW, super great, love it. I've been wanting a green one for a long time, so
Yeah.
super excited about that. All right, and then let's see, what else do we need to cover? Oh, the bird dropping. So let's talk a little bit more about the bird dropping. So generally speaking, coatings are gonna be impervious to the birds. This bird, I think, was a little bit on the ill side. I think
Yeah,
he was a little
probably,
bit
yeah.
ill. So he was a little bit sick, and so this has left a little bit of a mark. That's not very common, so that's why I'm not joking when I'm saying the bird was sick. I actually think he was extra sick. And so this should polish out pretty easily. And honestly, the hood needs that acid wash because that acid rain really did a number on it. It's not terrible, but it should come off no problem. And then obviously the bird left
Yeah.
his mark.
Yeah.
Well,
Now,
the
so
bird
let's
acid washed it,
Yeah.
too.
So if we talk about that, it's honestly, if you do get bird droppings on your vehicle, this is why it's a good idea to get them off immediately. To be fair, we told AB to not touch his car. So we are going to polish that out because we told him not to take it off. So, but generally speaking, this is why I keep either a rinseless wash diluted or like something like a paint gloss, a quick detailer, so that if I come out and that bird has done that to my car, I just quickly wipe it off because
Yep.
I'd rather have a few towel scratches than the bird itching. But this is going to be easy to fix. I'm not worried about it.
Agreed. If the second you see it, it's
Yeah.
already probably too late. So
Yeah.
just knock it out then. Don't say, oh, I'll wait till I get home, because what happens too is some people, they see it on their hood, right? And they go either at work and they
Yeah.
go, oh shoot, well,
Yep.
I guess I'll clean it off when I get home, right? Well, what they're about to go do is drive their car and heat up their hood,
Yeah.
right? What's
Yep.
that gonna do? That's gonna bake that bird dropping,
Right.
even more so into that hood. So it's best to just literally grab anything. Grab a T-shirt. Grab
Yeah.
an extra pair. Take
Baby
your
wipe.
take your sock
Yeah.
off. I don't know, and get some type of cleaner in off it, because again, a slight amount of micro marring is so much easier to remove than
Yeah.
a bird etching, because bird etchings, you just don't know chemically how far that's gone down to the clear coat. So just advice there based on my own personal experience. I just have made some mistakes in the past, and I go, why did I just not do something? Because I just didn't like the thought of wiping my car with a not ideal thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wish I would have done it.
All right, you guys, let's get over to the side of the car.
All right.
Have you a couple of seats here
Oh, look
over
at-
by
look at
the
these
camera.
chairs.
Yeah, they set it up for you.
Nice.
Real
Fancy.
nice.
Got the little chair.
Fancy.
Proper Q&A stuff. All right. So,
right, let's do
I've
it.
got a queue full of questions, comments, various things just from the course of the show today. Of course, there will be some more popping in, but I'm going to hit the ones in the queue here first, and we'll just see where it takes us, how long it goes. Starting off, of course, this one just came in like a second ago. With Alkaline Towpat, wondering how much super chat would it take to make me wash a car? You guys forget, I have washed cars on the Q&A before. It's like they just have selective memories or something.
It's very rare. That's
It
all.
is rare. I'll grant you that. If I don't have to, I usually don't put myself on that side of the camera. Okay, so this one's pretty easy because you guys were just washing the Mazda here. Michael was also asking. He was asking a lot of good questions. I think he popped in kind of late, so he was just wondering, what were you using on that Mazda to do the initial, wash? It was foam and R, correct?
Yep.
But
Yep, that's all we used.
specifically, if
Yep.
that's not the real name, what's the real name of it?
It's just called Optimum Hyperfoam, I believe is what it's called.
Hyperfoam, no rinse. Yep.
Perfect. Okay. And then I've got David Boyce here wondering, can Decon soap be used entirely without using any other soap? Is that advisable?
It can, if you want to use a Decon soap and you want to hand agitate it, you can with gloves on. There's really no, I guess what I'm trying to say is you could do it. What's the reason for it if you're wanting to do it? Is it because you have to do a major decon? Because we know that like Optimum Touchless is technically a decon soap, but you can hand agitate it if you choose to do it. But it's also meant to be hand agitated, whereas not all decon soaps are going to be meant to be hand agitated, especially if it's like a pre-treatment shampoo. Like I wouldn't want to take Super Foam by Coach Chemi and go put my hands in it and start washing with it. That's not my probably favorite thing to do. If I have to, I could, but I would make sure my gloves are completely covered, not getting any type of product into the glove.
Yeah, and I would have the same answer. I think there is a very high chance that you're actually going to get water in your glove during the wash process, right? During the decon process, we're not at risk of getting it in our gloves, but definitely when you're dunking your hands in the water, you're a lot more at risk of getting it in the glove. But the other thing too is I think that for me personally, if I'm using a decon soap, I foam that on and I rinse it because when I get to my contact wash, I want there to be more lubricity and a little bit more glide and things like that. So for me personally, I think that there's absolutely, no reason that you couldn't do that, but is it best practice? Probably not. I would use more of, a pH neutral or something with a little bit of lubricity in it over the decon.
Yeah, decon soap from ADS, right, can be actually used by hand, but even Bradley will say, you want to make sure we wear gloves. Should you be worried about performing rinseless washing on soft paint like the nope. I've done rinseless washing on the softest paint in the world, and it's been 100% safe.
Yeah, I've been exclusively rinseless washing for like 14 years now. So, every car that comes in my shop basically gets rinseless washed. Really, the only time I'm doing foam washes is if something is like crazy muddy dirty or I'm just having fun testing foams. But for the most part, I'm only using rinseless wash, so I've used it on just about every year, make, model. Soft paint, hard paint. If you're doing it correctly, there's really very little chance of causing damage.
Is using an iron remover and claying the car recommended before applying a ceramic sealant or wet coats? So I think so. If you want to get the most out of it, if you are wanting to do like a standalone sealant application, doing a quick, light, fast decon will probably make the most sense. Oftentimes people will buy a ceramic sealant or something like that, or a spray-on rinse-off product, and the car really isn't. Basically, if there's enough contamination, that product just won't work. It won't stick around for very long, and you get people that they go online, they go, this product, didn't work. It only lasted like a week, right? And you go and feel their car, and you go, well, yeah, no duh. There was no room for this product to be able to go on, in your clear coat because it's so filled with other crap. So. Yes, it's one thing. If you want to get the most out of it, yes, it's worth doing it. If you were simply just touching up an area or just adding a little top coat just for fun, then usually, you can just throw it on.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. And then, of course, I got Air First here saying howdy, because Air is always the one who's like eating something fancy during our Q&As, because they're usually like late in the day for him. So this is a totally weird concept. Window there. All right, so I always love seeing you live. Of course, that's friendly. And Alpha Tango here also pointing out, wanted to make sure is here with a good morning and hello to the crew. Yes, I think we're having a really good time this morning. But Coach Chemi, out with a little bit of sass. The concept of Anthony not having the mitt on a stick or wheel mitts ready until mid-detail.
That is true. That is true. I didn't know I was going to want a wheel mitt. Basically, I don't know I want a wheel mitt until I'm already doing something on the wheel and I go, oh, I want a wheel mitt, because I didn't know it was going to be like a flicking back type of wheel. And it was. And then the mitt on a stick, there was no excuse for that. That should be ready to go at all times, locked and loaded with a fresh cover, ready for anything. So that was just Yeah, an oversight.
I keep 3 like lined up ready
Do
to go.
you?
Yep.
I like you're going to
Yep,
war,
every
right?
color, yeah.
So like
Yeah.
I like to think that
Yep.
like in the case of like let's just say like there's anarchy that's happening in the streets
Mm-hmm.
or like a mob is being created. You know how everybody's like grabbing pitchforks and like torches and stuff? I'm grabbing my mitt on a stick.
Yeah.
And so I'm showing up to like this whole thing where they're like, we're taking over this town, and
Yeah.
they all have like their sharp things, and they look at me and they go, what are you gonna do with that? I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know, basically like, push people or, just
Yeah.
clean things.
Yeah.
And they go, well, this isn't that kind of mob. And I'm like, well, I thought we were cleaning cars. And
No.
They're pretty cool.
yeah.
All right, so I'm skipping back to the beginning of my queue so I can get some of these like really early comments. So they may feel like, where's this coming from? But just know that they're from like the very beginning of the show.
Got it.
The mitt on the stick is available on the site, and the covers are new, is something I've been told as well.
Nice.
Sweet.
Angry Monkey Detailing. Hi, all. Catch today. Oh, well, there we go. Let me pull this off the screen
Look
for
at
a
that.
moment. There we go. The Cyclone microfiber cover for people who've been asking, demanding a
Nice.
Cyclone version now.
Yeah.
Now you can get one. So that is actually a really big deal.
Yep, they are, and these are made in Korea for people who just want clarification there.
Yes. All right, now let me get Angry Monkey back up on the screen. Hi, all, catching today's show from inside the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum in Virginia. Very cool. Will TRCMA have an arts and crafts halftime show again?
Yes.
They're fun. Can't wait.
Yes, we do. It's on Monday. I'm doing it, and I can't wait. It's kind of crazy different this year. I'll say that.
Ooh, okay.
There's going to be
Cryptic.
some pretty strange things you guys are
Yeah.
going to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
I'll just leave it there.
I've heard
Yeah.
some things.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty out there. At least what I understand. Some of the more abstract parts of the show. Let's say.
Yeah. You won't want to miss. You won't want to miss any of the half times. I will say that.
No.
Yeah.
No, the half times are crazy this year. Ronnie, what acid is Sydney using? And
So
then
I
he
was-
wonders if it's Crystal Wash.
No, it was not Crystal Wash
Okay.
because we wanted to actually. So Crystal Wash will not cause that flattening of the coating. So
Gotcha.
obviously that is what I primarily use to declog coatings, but we really wanted to separate today into all the different ways. And so I was using hydrofluoric acid from Car Candy, but when it comes to acid, they're all just acid. So there's no like one company that's going to make a better acid than another. I will say that my favorite form of acid is like a gel-based acid if you can find one that does a good enough job. That is a little bit difficult, but most of
It'll
the spray
clean.
on, yeah, but most of the spray on acids are all just hydrofluoric acid. They're all going to be the same. But yeah, so that bottle was Car Candy.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure for the viewers they understood that, yes, there are different
Yeah.
kinds of acid, but when in reference to acid you're putting on your paint here,
Yeah.
you're really just talking about that particular kind of acid.
Yes, because Crystal Wash is an oxalic acid, so that is an acid that attacks fallout. So it is a really good fallout remover, not like iron. So if you happen to ever catch that video that Dave and I did last summer, we talked about the difference between oxalic acid and an iron remover, where iron remover only removes iron and oxalic acid removes all the other contaminants. But it is a generally safe product to use. And so today we kind of wanted to pull out the hammer because that is what I'm seeing so much around, on the internet is about hydrofluoric acid, and there's definitely a difference. So.
All right. And then I've got Will Embry, who's been asking many good questions today, wondering how do you wash an undercarriage without getting wet, specifically applying chemicals under a truck?
Yeah, so if you're super invested in doing that, you can actually buy foaming undercarriage cleaners and the rinsing ones. I only have the rinsing one myself, and normally I'll take like a foam cannon or an IK sprayer and I just hand spray, some degreaser up in there under the undercarriage. If you want to foam it, like Anthony said, you can put it in a foam cannon and you kind of do get wet. You're going to foam up in there. But then they have the attachments. They look like they're sweepers, for your driveway or something, but you can actually turn them upside down. So I'm not talking about the round one. It's a bar with a bunch of streams that shoot up. And so you can either flip it over to do concrete, or you can flip it where they're pointing up to do undercarriage. So that's what I use to rinse out the undercarriage, but they do from what I've heard, they do make one that actually sprays soap as well. So yeah.
Good to know. And I do believe that, in kind of sneak preview, today's video release we're going to have on the main Rag Company YouTube channel here is going to feature an undercarriage washer as well.
Oh, cool.
Part of the segment. So you can look forward to that. And we'll give a moment for the sirens to go by. Will Embry also has another question, wondering what's that chemical in most iron removers that makes them smell like rotten eggs? Wondering if it's sulfur. Close.
Yeah, it's thioglycolate is what it's called.
Yeah, there's different versions of thioglycolate, but yeah, there's definitely usually a form of thioglycolate in there. It's the thing that turns purple. It creates that look.
Yeah.
All right, then I've got Joey here. That's a nice pressure washer gun. Can't wait to hear more about it next week. Hear more
Joey,
about it,
maybe
you will.
if you play your cards right, you might be able to touch this thing.
Whoa. All right, moving along. We got Terry O'Connell here. What's your opinion on using a combination of GSF and GS for an alkaline pre-wash? How would you dilute it? So that's General Snow Foam and Green Star from Koch.
So for me, I do this often. For me, I prefer to use Green Star just in a spray bottle or an IK sprayer. Probably use the IK multi the most. And I just walk around, spray the lowers on a car, and then go straight in with a GSF. I don't even rinse the Green Star off. I just go straight in with the GSF in a foam and party on.
All right.
I do love some Green Star though.
Yep.
And then following along kind of on the Koch train here, we got, is Active Foam good to use post-correction to wash off any compound residue? Kind of seems overkill to me.
Yeah, I prefer not to wash a car after paint correction, especially if you're going to be putting on a coating, just because you really do run the risk of like very, very, very micro marring from the towels and things. That if you're using a good compound and polish, you shouldn't have any residue.
Yeah, I'll usually, if I need to, depending on the paint or just the job, the mess I've created. I mean, I'll be honest, I've made some messes on accident, right? I've spun some pads that, let's just say, were not ready to be spun. And when that happens, I'll usually do a distilled water rinseless wash, just a quick little touch-up area. And that way, because the paint is going to be the most bare it's going to be after a polish, and most susceptible to any type of hard water spotting and mineral deposits. So I'll just buy distilled water, have a couple gallons of it, dilute a rinseless wash of my choice, and then go through and clean up any residual areas, excess compound polish, and then I just repaint prep it after that, and I'm usually good to go. But I understand what you're saying, but no, like I'm not going to go ahead and do a full wash. There's just too much risk there involved.
Yeah, and definitely the rinseless wash is the way to go, because then you've got those extra polymers for safety and quicker drying.
And the paint prep will remove those. So don't think, oh, I'm going to be adding these. No, just don't worry about that.
Yep.
And this is, for time reasons, the last comment I'm going to be able to get for you guys today. But this is one I tried to get to while you were doing the wash, and I think Anthony was a little more preoccupied with the mid on a stick. So, Taheen Peeps says, is the Detail Factory wheel face brush safe to use on gloss black wheels? What say you, experts?
That's a loaded question, to be honest. So obviously I have a lot of gloss black wheels that come through my shop, and honestly there is just some wheels that nothing is safe to use on them.
True.
I mean, I've got a Mustang GT500 that looking at them scratches them. I mean, so I would say for me is when I have gloss black wheels, I generally go to the synthetic tri-tip brush, because it's just a little bit softer than the wheel face brush. The wheel face brush is generally totally great on all surfaces, but just because of, I hate gloss black wheels.
Yeah,
they just scratch.
So it depends, right? It also, because sometimes the factory finishes on gloss black, especially if it's non-powder coat. Let's just say it's a sprayed-on paint, right? Yeah. Generally speaking, that's usually going to be pretty soft, and it's going to scratch pretty bad. Yeah. But for certain manufacturers or certain aftermarket wheels that do get a decent gloss powder coat with a nice hardy clear over the top, they can usually take a Detail Factory brush isn't going to do much to them. Yeah. But either, again, gloss black is just tough.
Yeah.
You don't really have an answer until you're already halfway through the process. And
Right.
then basically don't use a tire brush on your wheels. Don't use a Scotch-Brite pad on your wheels. Don't use that. That's going to be your major damaging things.
Yeah.
But micro-marring on gloss black wheels, that's a normal, you just live with it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you for that Q&A segment, and thank you to all those of you who've been watching and providing great comments for us to pull from. I'm going to throw it to you guys, though, because we need to give this video a proper outro, because in case you forgot, we are shooting a YouTube video today, and it needs a YouTuber-y kind of outro.
All right.
Anthony said you're good at those.
Yeah, but I did it to start, Sid. So how about you finish it off? We're casual. It's not no pressure. Just
Okay. Let's see if I can do this in one take. You know, I like to take 10 takes for these outros.
Yes.
So if you guys enjoyed this video today, please make sure that you like and subscribe. Leave comments before. See, I already messed it up.
it's okay. Try again.
Okay. All right, we hope you guys enjoyed this video today with our tips and tricks on 3 different ways to do a decon on a ceramic coated car. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and for more tips and tricks just like this one, stay tuned right here on the Rag Company YouTube channel.
Good job. Good job. You did it. Did it. All right, Dane. Dane, back to you.
All right, bravo, bravo, well done. All right, thank you so much, guys. You did awesome today, and for those of you watching, I mean, you be the judges. You tell us down in the comments what it felt like to be on the other side of making a YouTube video today for the Rag Company channel. If you enjoyed this kind of stream, tell us. I mean, we could do this again, right? It's a fun hang. I figured it was just kind of a chill time. So if you did enjoy this, you got some education in there and some entertainment, let us know. We appreciate it. Show us by smashing that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the Rag Company YouTube channel. And before I go, I must remind you, TRCMA, that's right. We're not going anywhere without saying this, because this is what next week, frankly, the whole year for us is all about. We spend an entire year prepping for these things. It's crazy. So what is it? It's like a live trade show event. Think along the lines of like detailing SEMA, but cranked into a small space and, well, not that small, but you get a lot going on in tight quarters here. We get live streams from all of the manufacturers that you are fans of, and maybe some you've never seen before. So we want to make it an exciting place for you to be, get your questions answered in regards to any of your detailing needs, and yeah, just be here next week. It starts in the morning, carries through for several hours. Each one is a continuous stream each day of the week until we reach Thursday. So I hope you guys have a fantastic week and weekend. We will catch you next week for TRCMA. Sign up on the TRCMA.com page for more info. All right, take care, guys. I'll see you then.